is worsened by the current crisis.
Children can't eat free meals at school anymore. That was vital for poor families. There are more than 900 food banks in Germany, and half of them are closed now. The poor are hit hard by this.
A charity called Die Arche is now trying to support the Becker family with food deliveries. The group had to shut down its soup kitchen and childcare facilities due to the pandemic, but is finding new ways to help people, including grocery deliveries.
When you have no one to turn to, no hope, then of course you feel all alone, even if you live with several family members. That's why we're here to listen, and we'll linger at the doorstep a little bit longer.
Nicole Becker gets foods delivered twice a week. She and her children appreciate the support. They really help me a lot. I can always go to them if I need something. Nicole Becker hopes that the food deliveries will continue in the weeks ahead. It's the only way she and her children can get by.
Welcome to our home, which is now also the home office, the home school, and the home kindergarten. This is my husband Nick, working in what's supposed to be a bedroom. This is Charlie, who's almost 10 and usually found slogging it out at the kitchen table with his mountain of homework. And this is 3-year-old Cecilia, known as Cece, who is the one member of the family thriving in this new reality. We live in an apartment in Berlin right next to a rather beautiful church, but we don't have access to a garden or even a balcony, so at times things can feel a little bit claustrophobic.
Nee, je kan het. Nannte man im Alter.
Stop. Mom, stop.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Me. It's so hot not to pop. This is hell.
Cece, put it on the bottom.
Everyone has to help out around the flat. Well, I say help.
No.
But there are also some fun things about having to stay home.
Going on the beer.
Every morning, Cece can meet her kindergarten friends and teachers online. And because we can't go outside much, we try to do some exercise inside each day. We've even done a reenactment of the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood. Well, it does help having a designer as a husband, even if he did make me play the old grandmother.
Look, I'm not going to pretend that this is all easy. It isn't. But what we are trying to do is to appreciate what we do have, which is each other.
We hold this service in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. What at first sight seems to be a normal Sunday service is anything but. Cologne's Epiphanius Church is empty. In Germany, Sunday services and Mass are no longer allowed because of the danger of churchgoers infecting each other. So instead, for the first time ever, the sermon is being delivered online and live.
In all the years that I have worked as minister, I have never experienced that we as a community were not allowed to come together or to hold services. It's not a good feeling, but the internet offers us a way to join in the service of the Lord without being physically present, because we can live stream, and I believe that God's blessing will somehow make it through the doors.
Ja, der wird schon irgendwie durch die Türen kriechen.
Peter Bartolome is one of over 100 online followers, more than are usually present at Sunday services.
At first it was a bit odd, because I had to get used to the fact that the rest of the church community was not there, and to see Ute as the central figure. And this way I was able to concentrate more on her sermon and catch a lot of details that I might otherwise not have noticed.
The concept of online religious services is trending. Due to coronavirus, more and more German churches are turning to the internet.
I like to believe that thanks to the corona crisis we are building a new infrastructure. Once people have tested it out, it will be easier for them to stream the Sunday services in the future, Or maybe the church will offer something else online and they will find it perfectly natural to take part.
I'm especially worried about older people who live alone and don't have a social support system. For them, a 24-hour day is a very, very long time. We'll see the effects of this over time. We'll see a rise in dementia and depression. So it's very important that we reach out to these people now.
Müssen wir auch gucken, dass wir gut unterwegs sind, die Menschen irgendwie ansprechen, erreichen.
Digital services are just one way of combating the crisis. They may have been created in a time of need, but they may soon become the norm.
That is where the government of Quebec has to intervene more significantly. I'm very happy to see what the federal government has done, because we now have the munitions and we have the time to plan things out. And when we start, we have to make sure that everybody be able to survive. And I think we might, miss some things, but I'm really confident, whether it be tourism, whether it be culture, whether it be agriculture, everybody is comfortable. And I believe that we have the team in order to do this work. And so this is something that will be taking place in the next few weeks. Mr. Premier, you're asking a great sacrifice once again to Quebecers, an extra 3 weeks in this break that has an impact on wages and businesses that are necessarily going to die. Could you explain how the first 2 weeks have helped? Because for the time being, we can't see any lessening in the name of daily cases, so we could ask, what's the use of continuing with this pause? First, you have to be careful about just looking at the number of cases. We've explained this before, because we are amongst the states in the world that test the most, and we have targeted quite well the people that we tested, the people who were most at risk. So it's one thing, the number of cases is one thing. What I'm following a lot more closely is the number of deaths. And for the time being, I am convinced, and public health could confirm it, that the measures that we've taken in the past 2 weeks, and we can see them confirmed by Google's study, has allowed to save lives. Because when we test somebody who tests positive, who needs hospitalization, and that we put them very quickly under a respirator, we're giving ourselves the chances that that person be cured and that they leave the system. If we hadn't tested that person and that suddenly that person died, well, there would have been more deaths. So the fact that we tested more and that there was more distancing, so people met up less, I am convinced. And you'll see it on Tuesday as well. We'll be able to take certain countries that have that started the crisis before we did, and you'll be able to see on the graphs that up until now we're doing better than the average, especially on the death toll for where we are at in the curve. And that's what's the most important, Mr. Massey. You can see the graph illustrates things first. Not only are we first, but you can see that almost everybody's doing it, and we did it fairly early on. We did it very efficiently. So the curve, yes, is increasing. So we can't say that we have flattened yet. This being said, it takes about 15 days before we can see the effect, and certainly we would have a much higher curve if we hadn't done this. So on that, the studies are very clear. This is what we have to do. We're doing it well, but we also have to care for those places where there's vulnerability. So there's a curve of cases, and it's true that it depends on the resources that we put in to screen. But there are places where mortality arrives, unfortunately, and those places we really have to take care of as a priority, which is what we do in CHSLDs and residences for the elderly. So now, of course, there's a very particular emphasis that we have to continue, and we have to continue sustainably, because we're asking ourselves the question, why continue? Well, essentially, if we slacken now, we would have an increase in transmission that would be really harmful for the most vulnerable people in our society. That being said, we may have to live with this virus for a good amount of time, and we will have to incorporate in our ways of doing things precautionary measures to be able to limit that kind of transmission, which will happen, but we'll have to learn to limit. I think that the most beautiful model that we're all trying to follow is that of Germany. I took my day off yesterday to read quite a bit, took advantage of that. Germany has a lot of cases, a lot of confirmed cases, but very few deaths. A lot fewer deaths than any other country in Europe. And when you search through things, there's two things. They did a lot of testing, about the same amount per capita of testing